my god, where's Connor? He said he was here. It's so weird. Like, he texted me, he said he was here. Like, I have no idea where it could be. He's certainly not hiding behind that cactus with that bright red shirt. What? Whoa.
Wow, hello.
Scared me, buddy.
What's up, dude?
It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you, dude. What's up, man?
You
You filming? I figured you were gonna film.
We were filming.
Yeah, I tried to be interesting hiding behind the cactus. I hope that helped.
It was very interesting, yeah.
Good, man. Dude, you're still like very muscular.
Well, I've gained a lot of muscle back.
How much are you up to these days?
It's like 200, 205. So I have a little ways to go, but I'm about to hop on a bunch of shit.
Like what?
Like testosterone and stuff. Derek sent me a bunch of shit, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
I have that at the house. I think I'm thinking about starting it.
No way.
Connor, what do you got over there? Connor,
Don't put it
do I
on
need,
camera, bro.
do I need to
I'm
make
trying to-
another call?
I'm trying to make them believe that I'm sober, dude.
Guys, come on.
Why do you think I've been doing my old videos, man? I'm trying to make them think I'm sober. Don't put this on camera.
Alright, 5150. You've done me now. You're gonna have an advantage on me.
You want a caffeine thing? 200 milligrams?
No,
That's like
maybe I'll get like a energy drink or something though.
I'm really good at singing, but like filming
Do you
and
want to sing a little something?
if you guys have like a song you guys want to hear,
Okay.
like I could like sing Elvis or like
Sing a little Elvis, if you want to.
yeah. I like Suspicious Minds is the one that got stuck in my head. We can't go on together with suspicious minds.
That was great, brother.
Nice.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, bro.
But there's people who can sing even better than me, and I'd rather film them and take photos of them, and that's
that's
my
so
hobby.
sick.
And then singing, and I'm not putting that down because that's my background. That's where I come from. Do it,
Dude,
'cause
keep
I
pushing
want
for
to
that.
film.
Yeah.
But
But,
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
we gotta film this, but dude, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Find us later and like,
doing it.
yeah.
So here, some people might say he was acting out of the realm of a normal behavior.
So here's something that I liked about this. So this is actually what I
By the way,
liked.
that was not planned on that. Like,
So
random
this is my perspective, man. Instead of noticing the things that are like weird about him or like somewhat negative, I actually like to think that that dude had the balls to just come up to us and sing in front of us, which is something that most people would never do because they're too shy to do.
That's true.
That dude had some sort of confidence and he was so secure with himself that he was able to do that, and that impressed me.
Yeah.
So I like to look at the things in people that like I want to be more like, you know what I mean? Because that's tough to do just to sing in front of someone, but he's probably on drugs also. I feel like I need some more caffeine or something, dude. Should I take another caffeine?
Maybe like half one or something. So I don't want you
What
to
time is it?
have a heart attack.
Oh no, these are only 200 milligrams.
Oh, okay. I actually came prepared, and I'm bearing gifts from my heart.
If it's not ayahuasca, I don't really care about it, man.
Better.
Okay.
A divine protein shake.
Bro, that's not cool. It'd be cooler if it was actually your divine protein shake.
We can make that happen. That'd be funny to add a little bit of us like standing in the bathroom. We're like, yeah, dude, gonna go in the bathroom stuff.
Bro, thank you. I'm actually gonna drink this shit,
Yeah,
man.
go for it. I mean, I hope it's still cool, but you know,
No, I'm thirsty.
I just thought you might like that.
Oh, of
So-
course I like it, dude.
What was the thought process behind all that?
That is actually a great place to start.
Yeah.
The divine protein shake?
Yeah.
That's a perfect place to start. Should we sit down for this one?
Yeah, let's do
All right,
it.
that's a good place to start.
Do you want to share too, Brian?
Yeah, pass me a chair.
I'll look out for my videographers. So, tell me, do you regret that? I know you got a lot of hate, a lot of people who are not very happy about that.
So let me get this straight, Brett. What on earth is wrong with drinking the divine protein shake?
See, I'm gonna be honest, and I'm sorry, guys. Like, I don't care. Like, if he wants to drink the divine protein shake, do it. Like, we drink cow's milk. Like, that's like a sex organ from a fucking animal. Like, I don't think it's that weird. Would I want to do it? No. But a lot of people didn't like it.
So here's the thing. 100%, there's no way that it's bad for you in any way. It's not going to be unhealthy. If anything, look, I'm not saying it has some magical properties or anything, but it does contain some cool shit like nerve growth factor, whatever, spermidine, which actually has been shown to help animals live longer. Will it actually help your health or mental health? Maybe it's just placebo. maybe not at all.
Did you feel like any, side effects?
To be honest, a little bit. I did feel actually like mental clarity and stuff. I talked to this girl called Tracy Kiss. I did a whole interview with her. Mm-hmm. And she and many people that she has talked to, I mean, she's a girl, so it's normal for her, right? Mm-hmm. She's actually felt a lot better, like mental benefits and like more happiness by ingesting it. And maybe that is because it does have things like nerve growth factor, or maybe it's just placebo. But here's the thing about placebo. If it's placebo, you're still getting a benefit from it, right?
You're getting hydrated.
No, but I mean, say you just take a pill and it's placebo, but you feel better. You still feel better.
I see what you mean.
Right?
Sure.
But here's the thing. I didn't do that because I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, it has all these magical properties. I'm gonna actually like drink this to... No, what I was doing is I was trying to do something very dramatic that would really get people saying what the fuck is going on and really get people talking about it. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you know that part of what I was doing is I was certainly playing some characters. Was I crazy in creating these characters? Possibly. But here's where it actually came from, okay? So you know that I did this whole storyline about insinuating the possibility of me being gay, and then streaking at the US Open for gay pride. I thought it would be this cool kind of social justice stunt, right? And remember, I'm a YouTuber. I'm trying to do some viral stuff, but also kind of spread a good message, right? So obviously, if you are drinking the Divine Protein Shake, a lot of people might think that, oh, is this guy gay, right? I also did a video where I gave some guys like pecks on the lips, right? I also did some videos where I was doing this act where my family disowned me for being gay. I had this whole new family. It was actually the family that
Who was that family?
Family that was hosting an Airbnb, right before the US Open. Yeah, so it was just a family that was hosting the Airbnb, and I was like, hey, you want to do this?
Oh, so you were just like renting a room or something?
Yeah, and I was like, hey, you want to do this bit where like my family disowned me for being gay, and you guys can be my new family? And it's like, sure.
Dude, I was so confused by that.
Well, obviously, like
that shit looked real. I was like, what?
Do you think I believe that? Do you think I believed I actually got a new family? See, this is what I don't understand, right? Because I guess a lot of people don't understand that not everything on YouTube is real, and I'm in
No way. No, stop it. You're kidding me.
Well,
everything is real. I watch FaZe Rug all the time. All that shit's real.
Yeah, I mean, as a YouTuber, you know not everything is real, and you're always putting in an act on YouTube, no matter what you do. You're gonna act different, whether the camera's on or off, whether you're talking to your parents, or you're talking to your girlfriend, or you're talking to me, or you're talking to a stranger. You're always gonna have a different filter and act differently. You're always kind of putting on an act. Everyone's actually kind of always putting on an act, no matter what, right? Sure. There's no such thing as like pure and utter like genuineness. In fact, the peak of genuineness, I believe, is the realization and acceptance that you can't, it's like impossible to be completely genuine, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're always kind of putting on an act.
Let me ask you, so during the period where you were going through what people would call a mental breakdown, would you say that you were acting or not acting? Would you say you were completely yourself, but you were also putting on an act at the same time? So which one is it?
Yeah, so I got to go into the Divine Protein Shake a little more. So the Divine Protein Shake was part of the storyline, right? So it was part of the gay rights social justice stunt, streaking at the US Open, and I wanted there to be this whole storyline. I was thinking of the most epic title that a news article could write, like, guy gets disowned by his family and streaks at the US Open for gay pride. Like, this guy that is known for getting all these girls, right, all of a sudden makes this huge change, this huge social justice stunt for gay pride. It's like, it could have been this really cool, actually, story that I think could actually open a lot of people's minds and spread a lot of good. But there's this whole storyline behind it, okay? There was also this character, this prophet character, like this kind of Jesus character, right, that I was doing. And this is more kind of to spread the Eastern perspective of who Jesus really is. Because in the West, right, religion is declining. A lot of people don't believe in a man in the sky anymore, and they're searching for something deeper, right? And the Eastern philosophy of how they view Jesus is more of simply like an enlightened being who is spreading some sort of truth of deep inner peace and freedom like the Buddha was. And so the Bible is a collection of stories about Jesus, right? And they're kind of cherry-picked to be honest. People gathered accounts of Jesus and put it in the Bible, but there's a lot that were left out, like the Gospel of Thomas and stuff. That's a bunch of accounts of Jesus that isn't put into the Bible. People chose not to put it in the Bible because there's actually kind of a certain agenda and a certain idea of Jesus that they were pushing. So there's this one text from the Borabites, and it's called like the Greater Questions of Mary, and it's an account of Jesus that is not in the Bible, and you will see for obvious reasons, but you can actually look this up in the Greater Questions of Mary. I don't want to butcher this, so it's not going to be a perfect quote, but it's something along the lines of, Jesus was on a mountain with Mary Magdalene, he pulled a girl out of his side, and he actually drank his own semen, and she fainted, and he said, like, dost thou not believe, or something like that. And so the Divine Protein Shake, there's a deeper meaning behind all of it. It's not only for the story of the gay golfer character, right, who was doing this whole like social justice thing, that whole story, right? But it was also, that was part of like the Jesus character that I was putting on, and that whole character was to spread Eastern philosophy and give a different interpretation of who Jesus actually was, and to make people realize that these stories are very cherry-picked, so it's good to think critically and think open-mindedly, because Jesus might not be the person that you think he was, but there might be an even greater truth, right? A lot of the teachings of Jesus might be misinterpreted. For example, he said things like, you know, the kingdom of heaven can't be seen. So maybe it's not a mystical realm. Maybe it's actually a state of mind. Maybe this could be heaven right now if you just change your perspective.
Right.
So stuff like that, right? And again, I'm not discounting actually the traditional story of Jesus. I've gotten so open-minded, who knows, maybe Jesus was a freaking alien, like a fifth density wanderer who came down and maybe did have some special abilities. I don't know. But the key is to be open-minded enough, and I wanted to get a certain group of people that maybe were straying away from religion because they were becoming too rational, and maybe they could have a different perspective on who he actually was. I first got into it by reading Eckhart Tolle, and Eckhart Tolle describes Jesus more in this way. It was the first time that I looked at it and was like, oh, maybe Jesus, maybe there's a different story of Jesus that makes more sense from like a rational point of view. Maybe, you know, maybe Christ's consciousness is similar to Buddha nature. Maybe Jesus and the Buddha had very similar insights and they were actually spreading the exact same thing. Maybe all religions are trying to get to the exact same place. And this goes into the whole swoon hypothesis.
Okay, so that explains the Divine Protein Shake.
Okay.
Great explanation, very long.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And it's okay, like, I enjoy that, but I have just so much I want to ask you.
Yeah, man.
And
I guess the point behind that is like, there was always a meaning behind everything that I did. And if you look in that interview with Tracy Kiss, the main reason, and if you really dig down deep in your mind and realize this, the main reason why people are against the Divine Protein Shake, drinking it, is from deep-rooted homophobia. You would never get mad at a girl for drinking Divine Protein Shake. Why do guys say it's gross? Only that reason. Maybe, does it taste gross? Okay, what if you put it in a smoothie and don't taste it? And to be honest, if you're healthy, it's not gonna taste gross. So what is the real reason why people don't wanna drink it? It's from some deep-rooted homophobia, and I was just trying to kind of uncover that, right?
Well, what about the thought that, you know, just like saliva, people think saliva is gross. You don't want to drink something that was inside somebody else and came out of their
But like I
orifices.
said, would you ever think that it's gross for a girl to drink semen?
No, but it's gross to drink blood, sweat.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. It's the
Boogers.
Divine Protein Shake, right? So I think that it's
Fair enough.
I think that that's really the only place that it comes from. And again, that's how it tied into the whole. I think that it could be the most epic story ever, and I wish there was a news article about it, that this fitness guy who's all about getting girls all of a sudden went this whole different route and did this whole like gay rights thing, and I don't know. I thought that it was a cool story and you'd have to look into it more. But anyway, let's just get on. The whole point is that there's a deeper meaning behind everything, and I actually put a lot of thought and effort, but unfortunately...
You just think, I see what you were doing, but I feel like the people, one, didn't have enough context. That's an incredibly hard thing to explain to people who want to watch like a 10-minute YouTube video, and two,
Right.
just weren't ready for it. And maybe it was just so intense, they fixated on the negative, the grossness, other than the bigger meaning. So
And certainly, well, look, man, obviously, like, I wanted people to make videos about it, and I wanted people to say, oh man, this is like crazy, right? But I was hoping that another group of people would kind of understand the deeper meaning, right? And a lot of people did, right?
Yeah.
There's if you look, there's a large, actually relatively small, but there's a large group of people that really kind of got the meaning behind it. But you're right, the attention spans aren't very long, and
some of these people are called Connor's consciousness cult, or Connor's something like that.
Yeah, that was part of the whole,
Yeah.
you know, the prophet character. Why not create a cult? You know, Osho is my favorite, like, mystic. You know, he started a yoga cult, right? He's a yoga cult guy, and that's why I started the Prima Sada yoga thing. And Osho also is all about the swoon hypothesis, the story that the death of Jesus was actually an act for, like, political purposes. And this ties into the whole acting thing. And I actually played out the modern day swoon hypothesis actually a couple times.
Was your meaning to actually have a cult, or was it all just part of like a play? Like,
Well, dude,
because people actually bought into that. A lot of people did.
Well, it's like, first of all, dude, what's a cult? You know what I mean? I would say that there's even we're all in a cult, or most people are in a cult of, you know, the cult of science. Like, science is great. Science is great, and it helps us understand a lot about the content of reality. But science, there are certain things that science can't tell you, because science is still a system, and it can't explain things outside of the system. So science isn't going to tell you stuff, like, it's not going to be able to describe certain metaphysical truths, right? So for example, if you're in a dream, right? If you're dreaming, you could go and do a bunch of science in the dream, but it's not going to tell you that you're actually in a dream. That truth that you're in a dream comes from a deeper intuition, that comes from a much deeper place, that science, doing the science in the dream would never tell you, right? And so we're all kind of in cults. You call Christianity a cult, you call all these things cults. Was I trying to actually create a cult? I mean, it was more for just, it's a cool story, it played in with the whole prophet character, and I mean, it's like, was I trying to really have some organization and set up some like building where everyone came to like worship me or some shit? Like no, it was just kind of part of the fun of the prophet character to more explain these Eastern philosophical concepts, and also the story of the Eastern version of Jesus.
Okay, fair enough. So a lot of people were very scared for you initially when you went missing and you wrote a suicide note and you disappeared. Do you feel bad about any of that? Do you feel like you owe anybody apologies, or is that just because of a greater good that it's okay?
Yeah, man. So that's interesting. You know, man, it's tough. I do, on a relative level, yeah, man, there are people who are like worried about me, and I certainly don't want people to suffer. I certainly have compassion for a lot of people, and so if people suffered and they were like really worried about me, yeah, I'm like, yeah, sure, I feel bad. But I also think that it could spread a lot of good once you actually realize what I was doing. And I didn't think that as many people would take it so seriously as they did. You know, I said that I was acting at the start of that video. There's a video of it up right now, and I believe they cut the first part of it out, but if you look at, you know, I could post it. I did say at the beginning and the end that I was acting.
But you can understand how you were posting completely abnormal stuff on your YouTube. No one knew what state of mind you were in. Like, no one knew what's real and what's not, and what to take seriously. So somebody who is basically kamikazeing their career on YouTube,
that's a good
for
point.
them to say that they're acting, people are gonna, and then for them to disappear and leave a suicide note, they're not gonna probably take the acting part seriously.
Interesting. Well, yeah, so the kamikazing of the career, the YouTube's been declining a long time. The Connor Murphy shirtless thing, that was actually the first act. I've never been actually, at my core, some guy that would go around in real life and take off his shirt.
I actually know
and
that.
try and get girls.
Yeah, because I know you before, and
at the beginning,
it's not congruent with the person in the YouTube videos.
Absolutely not. At the beginning, when I was doing that, it was simply to escape a 9-to-5 job. Don't get me wrong, some of it was fun, but initially I saw it as so cringy. I don't really actually feel cringe now. I feel like I'm more free. I feel like I'm rid of most of my social anxiety, right? Through a lot of different exercises, which we can get into. And a lot of this act that I was doing is actually just that, to become more free and to be rid of social anxiety. But I was never that guy. That was actually the first act. And I think that's where people really get confused, is because they think that I was that guy, like that I would actually do that in real life. When in fact, I thought that the idea of going up to a girl and trying to get validation for something so surface level, such as a physique, was quite, first of all, I mean, quite, like if someone was really doing that in real life, that seems to me like that's some sort of mental disorder, to be honest. I mean, that's some really deep insecurity to really seek the validation of others that hardcore, where you would go in real life, take off your shirt and say, hey girl, look at my body.
And I agree with that. And because I was very pleasantly surprised when I actually got to know you, that you're very intelligent, very calm, very stoic, and didn't have a need for validation, even though you're in like the most, egotistical country or city in probably the entire world.
Yeah.
So my question is are you acting now? Like, I know
I am acting now. To be honest,
what are you acting like right now? Do you feel like ethereal but you're acting human? Are you trying, or what is this act now?
there is certainly a part of me that is trying to act more normal, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, really, Brett, I would much rather talk in this accent and talk a lot more confidently and be a lot more expressive in my speech. But people would seem to believe that this might be a little crazy because they're not used to this whatsoever. I don't know.
That creepy fucking voice again.
Yeah, I don't know. No, to be honest, I don't know, man. Like, there's a part of me that kind of wants
Is
to...
that true, though? You would prefer to talk in that voice?
I don't know, man. Like, sometimes.
Okay. Because you did that for quite some time.
Okay, so to be honest, like, me and Tyler went out last night, and we talked to some girls, and I spent the whole night talking in that voice because it was fun.
I've done that too.
It's more expressive.
Yeah.
Right? So here's the thing. A huge part of depression, one of the biggest causes of depression, is suppressing emotions. You can look this up, every psychologist will tell you this. A huge cause of depression is suppressing emotions. And society causes us to suppress our emotions. They're gonna tell a guy, hey, you can't be sad, you gotta hide your emotions and you gotta be strong. And there's this weird phenomenon in our society where we have this idea that we need to mature. Notice how a kid is relatively, let's take age out of it, a kid acts crazy, right? They laugh at fart jokes. They scream and run around and do all this stuff. And we're told that we're supposed to mature as we age and that we're supposed to be, we're supposed to mature and we're supposed to not act like that.
Filter our emotions.
Exactly.
Put up walls. Yeah.
And that's not natural. If you look at like a chimpanzee, right? Even if they're in a zoo, which is not natural at all, the adult chimpanzees they act crazy and they do all these things, right? And so there's definitely a deep part of us that wants to act like a kid. Mm-hmm. And when we repress these emotions, right, it can cause a lot of depression. When you bottle up your sadness, right, that sadness is it's not allowed to come out and you're probably gonna feel depressed. If you don't express your emotions and maybe act a little eccentric and act like a kid, you're gonna be missing that childlike sense of wonder and it's gonna lead to some depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. And so one of the biggest things that I found that increased my freedom, my feeling of freedom, is to actually act eccentric. And I actually have a name for this. It's actually in my upcoming social anxiety course. I don't even mean to plug it or anything, but it's called anti-conditioned expressiveness. Anti-conditioned expressiveness. And it's actually a technique where you act in a way that is against societal norms. And you express your emotions intentionally and in a way that is outside the norms of society, and it can be extremely freeing. So not only the act of expressing your emotions just alone and acting can be extremely therapeutic, And that's why a lot of actors, I could talk about Jim Carrey, how he had quote unquote awakening from just playing different characters and realizing that there wasn't any root personality behind any of them. They were all just characters, blah, 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 but whatever. But also the idea of acting eccentric for people to see, from the outside world to see, and learning not to give a fuck about what other people think, it's the most empowering and freeing thing ever, right? So for example, it would look something like the ACE method, the anti-conditioned expressiveness. The exercise would look something like this, right? And it's great because we're on camera. And again, so look, if you have a job and you're afraid, like, you know, look, we still live in the material world, so you want to do this in a way where it doesn't fuck up your life. So maybe a lower level of this would just be filming it for yourself or maybe showing it to a friend. But, you know, luckily I have the luxury where I don't have a boss or anything, so I can do this for everyone to see. But the exercise would here's an example, right? Okay, so it'd be like, Brett, my master, please give me your divine protein shake, Brett, please. I don't know, something like that, something like crazy, right?
There's a hook for the video.
You know, yeah, like back to the intro. And like, could you do that back to me right now?
Yeah, sure.
Could you? Try it.
Connor, master, can you give me your divine protein, please?
See, that's impressive as fuck. So that is
That was
impressive.
really good, right?
No. Listen, look at how that elevated your mood, and you already feel more free.
Yeah, no. Like, I walked around with fake boobs for a day. That's just, like, I never felt so confident.
Now imagine doing that over and over in different ways, right? And doing it for people to see, and becoming more and more free and more not giving a fuck about what people think of you. Mm-hmm. Do you see how that is a route to quite the free state, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Sure.
So that's a huge part of it, is I got so into this idea of, wow, this is actually a way to become completely free. And of course, like that, obviously, I mean, that was acting. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not acting in the sense that I was that free to be able to do it, but I'm not gonna go around in like public, like when I'm at the grocery store and like do it. I mean, I guess I could, but it's obviously like, so for example, the video of me.
But you realize people like interpreted that as you not being in a sane mind.
Well, yeah, of course, because I haven't explained it before.
Yeah.
So, of course, but that makes sense to you, right? How that could help you be more free. It's an extremely amazing like social anxiety exercise.
Absolutely, sure.
So, for example, when I did the video with those guys that came down to Austin, and you know, I was in my crazy like dirty apartment, and I was doing that voice where I was like, "Oh, Belle Delphina, a vegan, Belle Delphina only eats plants. I only eat things that are made of plants, like Belle Delphine's vagina," or something like crazy like that, right? I remember doing that, and you know, people
We've
made
all said it before.
Yeah, like people made videos of that, and they're like, "Oh, this is proof that like Connor Murphy's crazy," when that's, I mean, do you think I would like go to the grocery store and do that? No, I was doing that whole, I mean, that was all part of like the exercise that I was doing, and those guys knew that, right? Like,
but I feel like maybe part of like this sane human experience is keeping up those safeguards, and there's other ways of, you know, dipping a toe in and growing your confidence, your freedom, without actually giving the impression that you're crazy.
Well, right. So for, like I said, for the average person, it's a great exercise, but I'm not telling the average person to go post it online. Mm-hmm. All I care about in life is freedom. Everyone is always chasing a feeling. That's it. You don't actually give a fuck about getting a nice car. You don't actually give a fuck about having sex with a lot of women, right? You don't actually give a fuck about being super successful, right? What you care about is the feeling that you think that it will give you. Mm-hmm. And where the real mental switch is, and you know, if you don't believe this and you believe that that's the true way to happiness, go for it, man. Until I had all that shit, right, I wouldn't have believed that either. But there's a switch when you kind of realize that freedom can come from a deeper place within, and that you can actually find freedom in any circumstance whatsoever, and that there's a way to do it. So for the average person, I think that
Are you still able to do that at any time?
You know,
or is it only during the time that you were taking extensive psychedelics?
Oh, well, I think as you just saw, I'm completely, yeah, I'm completely able to act pretty eccentric right now.
And you
Yeah.
find happiness. You can find happiness at any time like that.
Yeah, and again, it's a never-ending process. I'm still working on it, right? And this isn't, see, people think that like, I'm back to normal and the act is over. Well, no, not exactly, right? I just think that there's a better way of going about doing it. So I'm planning on continuing it just in a way that maybe people can understand a little bit better. Because I will say this, I may have been delusional in the sense that I thought people would get it a little more than they actually did, right?
I think you're right.
So I thought that there would be a
think you're
group
right.
of videos saying, hold on, maybe he's actually acting, maybe there's something deeper behind this. He's spreading all these Eastern philosophical concepts, and there is a lot of proof here and there that he's acting. Maybe there's something deeper, and then hopefully people would look into it, watch more videos, and there'd be this debate. I wanted there to be this debate, like, oh, is he crazy, is he not? And I was never planning on talking about it this explicitly, but what's cool now is that I realized is like, I could talk about it this explicitly right now, people still probably won't believe it, right? So I don't really mind talking about it this explicitly, and that's kind of why over time, I kept giving more and more hints, right? For example, like one thing that a lot of people didn't see was there was a video that I did with a psychiatrist, right?
I saw it. Yeah.
And well, did you see what she said at the end?
She said you weren't crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of came back down to earth and explained how I was doing this thing for YouTube to kind of spread these certain concepts of freedom. And at the end, she's like, well, you definitely have some, you know, eccentric ideas, but she actually, it helped because she had some Eastern philosophical background. She's into meditation and Eastern philosophy. And she was like, but you know, I don't think you really have anything wrong, and I don't recommend any medication.
I think you might be a little bit of a Machiavellian. I think you're really good at working people and convincing them of things.
Oh, possibly. I mean, yeah. Well, but that's the thing. I believe at least I'm. So, I think where crazy really comes from is people think someone's crazy when they're not in control of their emotions. I think that's really where like the subconscious feeling of, oh, that person's crazy is when they're not in control of their emotions. But I believe I'm in pretty good control.
Okay.
So I could act sad right now. I could act crazy right now.
Go
I
ahead
could
and
act normal.
act a little sad.
Yeah.
Act a little sad for me.
Thank you, bro. I was waiting for this. All right. I came prepared. This is one of the bits that I wanted to do.
Oh God, I don't know
is
anything
perfect.
about this either.
I love how this is going, bro. I'm pulling some, Amber Heard probably does this shit, bro. Instead of methanol, I got some peppermint oil. So like, kind of put it under my eyes a little bit. It's supposed to make me tear up a little bit. I haven't perfected it. So it's not, I'm probably not gonna be crying actual tears, but it might make my eyes like a little red. But, so, you know, a lot of people think that I lost all my money, and you know, you know, I was so unhappy. I was going through this mental breakdown where everything was so sad. I mean, maybe it's true, dude. Like, I embarrassed my fucking family in front of the whole fucking internet. I lost all my fucking money, dude. I had this amazing fucking career. I was a fucking man, bro. I was a fucking man. And I gave it all away for fucking what? Ruined my fucking reputation. The PGA fucking banned me. I had this fucking dream. This fucking dream to be this professional fucking golfer. And I just pissed it all the fuck away, dude. I just pissed it all the fuck away. And I still fuck 3 girls a day, and I'm still not fucking happy, dude.
Give this man an Oscar.
Bro, fuck, that hurts. Dude, that hurt my eyes so
Does it
bad.
actually?
Yeah, oh, it burns. I put way too much. I like can't even open them,
Did
bro.
it hit the water fountain?
Yeah, where's the water
I think
fountain?
I think you smeared it when you were
okay.
like wiping.
Bro, I did that way
Yeah.
too bad.
Do you want to wash it out?
Yeah, wash it out. I'll cut it.
Act
real quick.
two.
Oh,
Just kidding, I'm fine. No, I really, that's really
This way, buddy. This felt. This way up here. Careful. Come on. Well, Connor, I don't know what's upset you, but I want to cheer you up. I want to make you happy, so I think we'll go to the gym and get a little workout in.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I think it's gonna look like I've been crying the rest of the video
You
because
know
this
what?
peppermint oil is burning the fuck out of me. But Let's go sweat it out. Let's
let
get
it
some
out.
eye sweat going.
Thank you for doing that. That was great.
Are we going? All right, let's go.
All right, Connor. So,
Yeah.
I have a question that's been brewing in my mind. So, you went from having sex with 3 girls a day to having no sex for like 70 plus days. It's okay, you can let it out.
It's gonna look like I'm crying the whole video, man.
Yeah, they saw the pepper thing, but like, explain what that's like. Like, why did you decide to do that? And why did you feel the need to have sex with 3 girls a day?
So, when you say the phrase 3 girls a day, I'm assuming you're referring to the only time that I have claimed that, which is during the goodbye video, which I think you understand by now is an act. Do you think that, so if people took that seriously, did people take it seriously that I was actually fucking, on average, 3 girls every day? Because that is a way bigger story. That's like, I mean, that's some world-class shit right there, you know what I mean?
So it's not true. You're
Okay.
denying it.
It may have happened before,
Okay.
but how I said it, like on average, of course not, bro. Like, I'm just a man, you know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm God or anything.
Okay.
No, but seriously, no, of course not. And I was assuming that people might say, hey, maybe this video has a deeper meaning. Maybe he is portraying that chasing these hedonistic pleasures and even getting up to the point where you would fuck 3 girls a day, where most people would think, how could you not be happy? Maybe they get this deeper meaning where chasing those hedonistic pleasures, it's a never-ending rat race that you're gonna keep wanting more and more, and you're never actually gonna be completely fulfilled.
You know, I'm like super smart, so I like picked up on that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you about that because people are so confused. You had everything. I was scrolling through your videos, 25 million views. The next video has 9, 60. You know, you're in LA, you're ripped, you're jacked, you're handsome, but yet it seems you weren't happy. Am I correct?
You know, well, to be honest, I think for the most part, well, certainly now, but for the most part, I've been happier than the average person. But, you know, Jim Carrey has a great quote. I believe it was him. He said something like, I wish everyone could become rich and famous so they realize it's not the answer. And it's almost impossible to describe it to someone who's never been there.
Sure.
But once you're there, it really doesn't change much. And that's when you'll really realize that happiness must come from someplace deeper, and it must have something to do with your mind. It must be an internal thing rather than an external thing. And this goes back to the whole Jesus character. You know, he has this great quote, clean the inside of the cup and the outside will be clean. Everyone's trying to find happiness by chasing these external pleasures. They're never going to get there. It must come from within. And this is why I'm trying to, you know, have all these different freedom exercises to help people actually find this freedom within, regardless of their situation. Because no, none of that stuff made me happy to what I thought it would. When I got there, I didn't feel much different, man.
Do you think all the people in LA that like are like posting and flexing on their stories, do you think they're actually happy, or is this
Not
all
even
just,
close,
like,
bro.
some futile shit?
Bro, everyone's only getting more depressed and more anxious. With it now, with social media, people are becoming more filtered. Remember how I said how it's so important to express your emotions, right? People are not doing that. They're putting out this fake version of themselves, a completely not genuine version of themselves. They're playing this character that is so far from genuine, yet they want to be this character. They're attached to being this character. And that's gonna cause people to be depressed, man. So no, in fact, dude, celebrities commit suicide all the time. In fact, probably at a higher rate than the average person. You hear about celebrity suicides all the time, man. It should be obvious when you really look into it that no, that's not how you find happiness.
So don't become a YouTuber. Fuck all your goals.
Okay.
Your dreams suck.
Now, with that said, I like to think of it as a video game, right? So when you're playing a video game, you're not attached to the character. If the character dies, no big deal. If the character doesn't do the things exactly like you want it to do, maybe you fail at the game, maybe the character's not as great as you want it to be, it's not really going to affect your happiness, you know what I mean? But during the game, you still want to build the character to be the best that it is, because that's the character that you have, that's the avatar you have, so you might as well make it the best that you can. So I'm not saying don't do these things, I'm not saying don't be successful, I'm not saying don't try and get a bunch of girls. There's actually some value to that, but don't be attached to it and don't think that that will give you the deepest level of freedom, peace, and happiness, because it won't, right?
I know, yeah. I mean, you're right. I've seen it firsthand, and yeah, I mean, everything that you chase for, every external pursuit is bound for failure, because one, you'll get used to it and it won't make you happy anymore, or two, it will be taken from you and you're more sad. You're sad or more sad than you were before you even had it.
Yeah.
So
here's the real freedom, man. The real freedom is when you can have this amazing childlike wonderful reality and be content and peaceful and free regardless of the circumstance. So it's not about trying to always feel positive emotions. Now, as you become more free, as you do these like exercises that I'm talking about, in general you will feel more positive emotions, but that's just a symptom. That's not what you're actually going for. What you're really going for is this freedom despite any emotion. Sadness can be beautiful. It can be wonderful. If you watch a movie, everyone goes and watches a sad movie and they want to feel sad. Why would they watch the movie? You know what I mean? Think of a movie. A movie would be shit without challenges. A movie would be shit without a variety of emotions. It would be boring, right? The problem is that people have this perceptual filter of this realness to reality, this illusory sense of it being so real and it being so serious. And so they get attached to it and entangled up in it, and they take it so seriously that it affects them in a negative way. But if you treat it more like a movie and less serious and you're not attached to it, negative feeling can feel great. It's just like part of a great story, right? So that's where the real freedom comes in.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's lift some weights. My next question is, I've talked to so many mostly young guys or seen comments on videos, and so many guys looked up to you and you got them into fitness and they thought, I want to be just like him. And then to see you go down the path that you went down the past 2 years, it actually hurt them and caused them like emotional pain. What do you say to those guys? Or do you feel any type of way towards having that impact?
I say that you should examine that pain and see the positivity behind it. So one of the reasons why I wanted to switch up my content is I actually started feeling kind of guilty. I started realizing that these guys started taking what I was doing, like they wanted to be like me. They wanted to be this guy that got all these girls just from their physique. They wanted this superficial level of happiness that I knew would just cause them misery in the long run, right? They were going on this hedonistic path that I was like portraying, right? And I actually started feeling guilty about that. You know, they want to be this guy that takes off their shirt, gets a bunch of girls, and they don't realize, like, I was acting like, oh, like this is great, you know what I mean? Like I'm having so much fun with it. It's the way to be, right? But that's just a character for the YouTube, you know? So I started feeling guilty about that, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to do that content, because I wasn't passionate about it. I started thinking that it was hurtful. That's why I made the video, so temporarily I like deleted all my old videos, and I actually made this video saying, hey, this isn't the way to happiness. And that's kind of when I really started switching everything over to this more, this more freedom-based teaching and experiment, because I wanted people to know that, yeah, that's not the true way to happiness. So I actually think that if people got upset about that, maybe that's a good thing. Hopefully that makes them question that, maybe that's not the answer. And I think it's actually a great mental health awareness story, right? I thought it was really cool that, hey, look, it could be a really cool lesson. This guy had everything, right? He had everything. He was successful, a bunch of money, like friends, girls. But look at where he is on the inside. He has this mental breakdown, right? And it was really to show, hey, even though people look so happy on the outside, you have these social media stars portraying these perfect lives. Those are the people that really have the deep down struggles deep within. And so that's what I was really trying to portray. This guy that had everything, but have these deep mental struggles deep within. And of course, it was very exaggerated, and that wasn't necessarily true. I was definitely not content, but I certainly wasn't to the point where I was like super, super depressed, like not even close. In fact, if anything, I was the happiest I've ever been when I was the most free I've ever been, because as we said, doing the ACE method.
Curls.
Yeah. Because like I said, doing the ACE method, the anti-conditioned expressiveness, right? Those different little like acting exercises, right? Those made me so incredibly free. And I was at even a freer point than I am now, to be honest, right? In fact, when people didn't really get it, when I did a 40-day fast and not one news article picked it up to like spread the awareness and kind of get the message out there, you know? When I streaked for the US Open and like no one really cared, like it didn't impact people the way I thought, that was more disappointing, man. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, to be honest, you know, everyone's saying like, oh, Connor, he's back, he's doing so well. You know what I mean? Bro, I'm doing a lot worse than I was at like the peak of doing all my wild stuff on YouTube, and that's why I want to get back to that. You have no idea how freeing it is to express emotions and do these little acting things, and doing so in a way as an exercise to not giving a fuck about what people think. You know, doing those videos, because I went back to doing those videos, just the shirtless videos, you know, to prove that like, hey, like, he's actually okay. I had to go back to doing those videos so people would be like, okay, like maybe he is actually okay.
Yeah.
That sucks. I hate doing those videos.
So let me ask you, what is your biggest stressor in life at this point, after everything?
Yeah, my biggest stress in life, man. I mean, also, wait, what was the question? My bad.
What's your biggest stressor in life after everything that's happened?
Yeah, man. So relatively speaking, I think it's quite obvious that I still have an incredible level of freedom, even though I'm consistently practicing, right? But I suppose now it's like, and again, I don't really have that much stress at all. I want to get a business going back again. You know, the business isn't as thriving as it used to be, because when you're doing all these superficial things, you're going to be making a lot more money for sure, right? And even though that's not what brings happiness, you still have to survive in this world. You know what I mean? Like, I still don't want to get a 9-to-5 job, because I want to be able to spread this freedom and work on my own freedom full time. Because that's all I care about. That's all anyone really cares about is freedom, happiness, and peace, right? So I do want to be able to do that full time. So, I mean, there is a little bit of stress of, okay, I do got to get my material life in balance so I can actually do that. But yeah, that's pretty much the only stress, is just kind of,
Do something with that.
Yeah, that is kind of the only stress in my life right now, is just kind of, yeah, dealing with material things. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like I made so much money where I can just chill for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like, I got to work on something. Of course I do have a lot of plans, so it's not that stressful, but it's still something you got to worry about and you got to go do. But I certainly don't see it as negative. I actually view stress as positive. It's like a motivator. You know what I mean? So even though I feel stress, I see it positively. Again, freedom isn't about not feeling stress. It's not about not feeling sadness. It's about loving all of it.
How'd that feel? It was a good workout, huh?
Yeah, great workout.
you like those, huh?
Yeah.
The last time that I saw you, I picked you up from the psych ward.
Yeah.
We went back to my house. You told me that the doctor said you were bipolar and they gave you bipolar medication.
Yeah, well, kind of. Technically they didn't know. Technically they said bipolar / drug-induced psychosis. So they actually didn't know. They didn't know what was going on, man. Here's the thing about these doctors, man. Look, they probably help a lot of people, for sure. But these are people that don't have freedom themselves. These are people that are still, you know, they're still in chains of societal conditioning. They're caught in this system that they were raised in, right? And so you have these doctors that aren't free. Like, I've met the doctors, they seem terribly unhappy. And what they're actually doing, they're not trying to make people happy. What they're doing is try and make people normal. And here's the thing about normal. The normal person in America,
Normal suck.
yeah, they're depressed, they're anxious, we're having more mental instability than ever before. People are only getting unhappier, and this is absolutely statistically proven. Suicide rates are only up, right? And so these doctors are just trying to make people normal, and if you act outside of normal, of course they're going to classify you with a mental disorder. There's a good Alan Watts quote, right? And he says, you know, if you tell a doctor in America that you're God, they'll put you in a psych ward. If you tell a doctor in India that you're God, they'll say something like, ah, how nice of you to have finally found out. You see, the conceptualization of God is completely different across the globe. And we have certain ideals and norms in America that aren't the same in the rest of the world. And they're not inherently true. So this is why I did this video on authority bias, and I actually got the doctor title I just paid for it from the Los Angeles Church Institute to kind of show that just because someone's a doctor doesn't mean they know anything about happiness. They certainly have a ton of knowledge. and they certainly help a lot of people in certain ways, but they certainly don't have all like the metaphysical answers to reality. You know what I mean? There's certain things that a Buddhist monk has much greater insight to in terms of knowing the mind than a psychologist. But again, I'm not discounting that, because there are things that we can learn from everybody. But it's important to question question people's knowledge, even if they are in positions of authority, which most people don't.
So did you ever end up taking that medication, or
Nah.
never?
Nah.
Didn't they make you take it in the psych ward though?
Yeah. No, you know what's wild, dude? Is that's one of the reasons I was in there so long the first time. Well, yeah, man, that's the thing, is there's this whole process where if they think that you should take medication, they force you to take medication. They'll actually do this thing called like a Reese hearing, where it's kind of like a little hearing where you get to kind of talk with this hospital judge, and you get to talk with the doctors and explain your side, if you should be on medication or not. And here's the wild thing, right? The doctor actually lied straight up to the judge, because it was actually kind of fucked up. I actually told the judge how in the goodbye video I was acting, and I said it at the beginning of the video and the end, which is of course true. I can post the uncut version, right? And at the time there was another version posted, a full version, and it was actually the only one online, and it said that I was acting at the beginning and the end. And the doctor absolutely purposely lied and told the judge that I did not say that I was acting. He said that word for word. He absolutely blatantly lied to the judge and said, no, he did not say that he was acting. And I said, yes, I did. You can pull up the video right now. And they go, no need to. And they just went with the doctor's opinion. So that whole thing it's a completely rigged system where if they want you on medication, they're gonna put you on medication. And that's where it gets kind of fucked up, right? I've actually saw quite a bit of like abuse in there too. To be honest, it was an experience that I actually wanted to have. And a lot of people might not believe this, but let's just say if I didn't want to go to a psychiatric facility for the YouTube, I certainly didn't have to. I think, as you know, I have the ability to act normal. And that experience, and also it's completely confidential, so there's no reason I had to tell anyone that I was there. That was kind of part of the whole thing. And there was a lot of abuse, not of me specifically, but to other people. It actually gets pretty bad. There are some people working in there that take out all their anger and frustration on these patients that are actually, like, they actually have deep mental disorders, like they're schizophrenic, right? Unfortunately, they have debilitating mental disabilities, and they'll be extremely mean and actually say some pretty messed up stuff, and they can never get in trouble because no one would believe the people that are disabled, of course. And I actually saw some really fucked up things in there. And it actually
Would you care to elaborate on any of those?
Oh man. So this is one that I remember in particular, and it was really weird. And I almost thought that it was a joke at first. But this guy like took his shirt off or something. And this other guy was something like, hey, like looking good, bro, like nice physique, right? And I was like, I relate to that, dude. That's what we say. Like, it reminded me of the old bodybuilding days, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of the nurses said something like, what are you saying? That's so inappropriate. You cannot say that. That is the most inappropriate thing ever. You cannot tell someone that they look good without their shirt off. It was like some weird like homophobia or some shit. And she really just started harping on this person. And she made him like, she made them separate. She made him like stay like in the room. Like she separated them and like said that they couldn't leave the room for a while. It was this whole weird thing, and I was like, what is going on? And the person felt horrible, like they didn't know what was wrong. You know what I mean? And the problem is that if like these people express that, they'll just say like, no, of course I didn't do that. That guy's just making it up. He's schizophrenic.
Yeah.
And so there's actually horrible abuse. I've talked to people in there, and I take it with a grain of salt because obviously, you know, they do have a lot of mental debilitating issues. Maybe they are fabricating it, but I heard a lot of awful stories as well that seemed that they could be real. Like people really getting abused at like deeper levels.
That's pretty crazy.
But it is crazy.
I've
Yeah.
heard stories about that too.
Yeah.
Yep, good job. All the way up. All the way up. Come on, all the way up. Explode. Come on.
Oh, I'm gonna explode, dude.
You need a
Appreciate
spot,
it.
bro?
Oh,
Gotcha.
of course. Thank you.
Got you. Come on, give me a couple more.
This kind of feels like Pranasada yoga, bro.
Like 3 more. Nice. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Nice jump in pocket.
Yeah.
Is anybody really crazy?
Well, it all depends upon what you mean by crazy, right? So, crazy, what it really means is that you're thinking or acting differently than consensus, right? What reality decides is normal, right? And that's really it. Now, we do live in a society and people can act in ways that is not useful, right? To their own well-being, right? Their physical well-being, like, of course. So it all depends upon how you define crazy, you know? Compared to societal consensus, of course people are crazy. I'm sure I'm crazy, right? But, you know, a Buddhist monk in the East would call probably all of us in the West crazy as well. So it's really just all a relative thing, but I have no problem with saying that I'm crazy. Like, on a relative level, I absolutely am. You know, like, yeah. So it all depends upon how you define it, really.
All right, Connor, that was a great workout. You're looking mighty pumped, but you might be wondering why we're here in front of this fire. Well, that's actually strategic, because I'm coming in and putting you on the hot seat, okay? I'm asking you some spicy questions.
I'm feeling it, man.
Are you ready?
Always ready.
So, did you really take ayahuasca every 2 hours?
So, this was definitely something that I did not expect everyone to take so seriously. That was a rumor that I myself created, and I don't know if anyone has ever done that,
Be a Kardashian.
or how possible that even is. And let me tell you, I certainly have taken it. I had quite the profound experience in Joshua Tree in an actual real ceremony, right? You actually, I mean, this is it's a real thing where you have to actually become like a member of like a Native American church, get a whole card. It's a real process, it's a real serious process. You have shaman, you have a group of people, and if anyone does it, I suggest you do it in that environment. And that was a completely deep and profound experience, a completely otherworldly experience that of course I can't describe in words, and it's something that really made me know, hey, this is the direction that I need to go. There is something deeper, and I definitely want to keep pursuing this freedom type stuff, because I experienced some glimpses of things that I heard, you know, from Eastern philosophical yogis and stuff, and it really made it clear to me that there is something there. And so that's what really made me kind of take this different direction. And maybe if I didn't do that, maybe I wouldn't have taken that direction.
Yeah.
Although I certainly had a large meditative background beforehand. I was meditating for a couple of years beforehand, a lot. I mean, to the point, like a couple hours a day. So I was very serious into meditation and stuff like that. But after, that was the only deep ayahuasca experience I ever had. I'm not saying I didn't experiment a little bit with microdosing and stuff like that. But to be honest, the reason that I ever even looked into getting ayahuasca online, like actually delivered to like my apartment, was to play it up for YouTube. So
Son of a gun.
So that was part of the whole Dear Evan Hansen storyline. Dear Evan Hansen is a character. His name, Connor Murphy is a character in the play Dear Evan Hansen, same name as mine, and he was actually like addicted to drugs and had like a drug overdose, right? And so I thought I'd play up that character as part of another kind of storyline. People could figure it out. Oh, there's this deeper meaning. He's playing this character as well. So I kind of played it up like I was addicted to a substance that is actually not. I don't believe it's even possible to be addicted to. In fact, ayahuasca is shown to actually cure addictions. It's not an addictive substance at all. I'm not saying I didn't experiment with it. I'm not saying I didn't experiment microdosing with it, but I will say that there are certainly some times where I even showed myself taking it that may have not been me actually taking it. There are certainly some easy ways to fake taking it. There are a lot of other things that look like different plants that are similar to the plants that are a part of ayahuasca, I suppose. Because I have done videos where I took a lot of ayahuasca and I showed me being completely sober after.
You bamboozled us.
And I thought that was.
I'm unsubscribing.
I thought
this is the last.
I thought that was a big hint that I took a huge megadose of something that would normally put someone in another dimension where they couldn't even move. And I did a sobriety test afterwards where I was just walking and completely normal, the same that I was before.
So you phase rubbed it, okay? We get it.
But I'm sure that there are ways that it could be abused, and I'm sure there are ways that you need to be careful with it. And
the Brett Maverick show does not recommend doing it.
It definitely. Look, I mean, I'm probably not the same person that I would be if I had never had the experience. I will say that I may have never gone down this route. It probably did completely change me permanently as a person, you know.
Mm-hmm. So, do you feel different than before?
Oh yeah, of course. No, I've had some major permanent shifts in my day-to-day
for better
experience. Yeah, some pretty profound shifts that I don't want to go into too much detail because it's probably going to get a little too much Eastern philosophy stuff.
Sure.
That it's probably, yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, fair enough. That's your honest answer. I'm sure you know of this YouTuber, Sunny V2, made a viral video about you. I'm sure did you watch it?
Oh yeah.
How do you feel about that? Do you have a response at all?
Well, first of all, I love it when people make videos of me. That was kind of the whole point. Like, I wanted...
There's the old Connor.
No, of course, part of me being a YouTuber is like, I do want things to go viral. Now, I also wanted the videos out there that, you know, maybe looked at me in a more positive light. Not even for my own validation, just for spreading a positive message, right? Mm-hmm. But, no, I mean, cool video, man. Like, he definitely got some things incredibly wrong, as did...
I mean, most that as well. Yeah.
Most people, like he said, I lost weight because I was addicted to a drug. When actually I did it. I didn't eat for 40 days. I did a 40-day fast. Which, by the way, I don't know if anyone got that or not. Obviously, that was part of the whole Jesus character.
Oh yeah.
Mystical Jesus character, kind of showing that some of the things, like a 40-day fast, is actually a human thing. It's not some sort of divine thing, that it can actually be done, and that's why I live streamed everything. You know, I mean, that's actually a practice in the East where that's actually a fairly normal thing. Not necessarily that long, but people do use fasting in order to, as like a spiritual practice, in order to, you know, it has profound effects on the mind when you go that long without food. Yeah.
You said that to me before. Watching that video and reading the comments, just one thing I want to say really quick. There was a ton of comments of people saying like, oh, he has shitty friends, they're not like helping him, I would like save my friend, you know, they're using him for views and all this shit. Like, people were like trying to help you. Like, deny that.
Oh well, it's a little deeper than that, man. Let's just say that, like, well, those two guys, they are my friends. Mm-hmm. They didn't use me, man. I mean, we made that video together. like they didn't just come there and film me secretly and did some video. No, man. Like, I helped produce that video. Like, I like that video. You know what I mean? Like, that was part of the thing.
And yeah, I will say people called me out personally. Not that I feel like I have to defend myself or prove anything, but I was definitely like checking in on you. I called you every other day when you were fasting. I don't know if you remember that. Like, what are you gonna do to a grown man, like, not breaking any laws? Like, what am I gonna tie him down and throw him in a cell? Like, nah.
I will say this though. No, I mean, there are certainly some people that,
Patrick Lyons is another one. You know,
there are some people that definitely just use me for content. Yeah. And but, you know, how I think of it, man, it's like everyone's acting in the best way that they can. Everyone has good intentions, you know. And, you know, it's not like, hey, if someone is just using me for a video, it's not like, I mean, we didn't agree upon beforehand that that's not what should happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't make some contract where they're supposed to be my friend at like a deeper level or anything like that. Like, I just don't necessarily see anything bad with that. I mean, people use each other all the time. I just think that it's important to set expectations and, you know, good communication, so like no one gets hurt. But I've never found anything really negative about that.
This is a blistering hot one. Did you really sleep with a transgender person?
Oh, yeah. Well, I had an experience with a transgender person. Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing, man. I don't know why that's necessarily bad at all, or even like an embarrassing question. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I've said many times before, I totally wish that I was bisexual, man. You know what I mean? Like, and that was part of it too. I've said that was kind of part of the whole gay storyline. Is like, I was hoping, I was hoping people would put that together.
Yeah.
It's like there was this whole kind of storyline where I really wanted to like be bisexual, right? Because you get the best of both worlds. You have more options. You know, girls they play too many games, man. You know, but unfortunately, I am straight, but transgender, very attractive transgender people are very feminine, and it's not about the genitalia, it's about the masculinity or femininity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so for example, if you had intimate relations with Hulk Hogan, let's say you had a vagina, but you had intimate relations with Hulk Hogan, but just a vagina, right? Or you had, or you had sex with Megan Fox, but she had a penis. Megan Fox with a penis, way less gay. Way less gay. That's extremely. You know what I mean? If you are that uncomfortable with your sexuality, where you say that Hulk Hogan with a vagina is less gay, that's some serious cognitive distortion. I hate to tell you. You know what I mean?
Sure,
so it's like,
yeah.
no, that's the kind of stuff where it's not acting like. There's definitely some open-mindedness that I have that is real. You know what I mean? Like, for sure. And if you call that crazy,
well, that's the only reason. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't give a fuck. Like, people should do what they want with other people as long as it's consensual. But that, you know, is one of those things that people question: is this for like views, for PR, like what is it?
Oh, and don't get me, like, the story I'm sure was quite exaggerated. You know what I mean? I mean, I was exaggerating everything, but no, like, for real, like, yeah, I've done stuff, like, I've done stuff with like a very attractive transgender person where you wouldn't be able to tell, bro.
Oh,
yeah. Oh yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
All right, Connor, me, your friend, I expect complete honesty. Have you ever done steroids?
You know what's funny, man? I just admitted to having intimate relations with a transgender woman. It seems quite obvious that I'm quite open to a lot of different things, and I seem like a pretty open-minded individual. I would definitely admit if I were on anabolic steroids or not. In fact, I'm not even at the moment selling any fitness stuff right now, dude. I would have loved to have told the story to blow people's minds that I was on anabolics. In fact, I considered actually saying it as like an act, right? Part of the act where it wasn't actually true. I've never taken anything. I mean, I've said exactly what I've taken. I did a whole video on it, right? And, you know, I did a whole explanation about how the whole natty or not thing is actually more complicated than people think. It's not an on or off switch, you know what I mean? Like, is ashwagandha, a concentrated ashwagandha in a pill that you could never get in actual nature if you're a caveman, that's at least a little bit unnatural, you know what I mean? And I know that people, when they say that, I think that
I think we know it. They're not talking about ashwagandha. Come on.
Well, no, right, of course, but it gets, you know, it gets even weirder than that. What about finasteride? I mean, that actually has a significant effect on an anabolic hormone, DHT. Now, most people would say that that's negative, but it does increase testosterone. I think overall it probably hurts your anabolic progress because DHT is a very anabolic compound, but I was on that as well. And like I said, I took ostarine for like a week along with finasteride, and I actually experienced some gyno, so I stopped that. I took some MK677, which is just a growth hormone secretagogue. It helps you produce naturally a little more growth hormone, which is not a big deal. What else have I took? Dude, I used to take Cialis. I actually have never said this before because I totally forgot. Not a big deal, but I took some Cialis, which is what the long extended version of like Viagra, right? Because it's actually supposed to have some sort of anabolic properties, right? And also increase like blood flow.
A lot of bodybuilders do that.
Blood flow, yeah, exactly. So I have experimented with some, man, and I'm completely open, like, but I'm sorry, man, some people are just completely wrong about like what I've taken, man. The whole narrative, what's the narrative, right? Oh, he stopped anabolics because of hair loss or whatever. There's this whole narrative that is absolutely just like completely wrong. In fact, like I said, dude, I'm about ready to shave my head. I'm probably gonna lose it eventually. I shaved it. I already actually shaved it, and actually, hey, you're gonna shave it too, that's cool.
You'll have to watch the video on my other channel to see that. But yeah, I'm literally about to shave my head.
But no, that whole narrative is absolutely just completely wrong. I mean, I lost my gains because, one, I'm pretty sure that I had post-finasteride syndrome for quite a long time. It affected me. So if you look up post-finasteride syndrome, some people will take finasteride even for a short amount of time, and it really messes up their hormones,
Oh,
like
shit.
hardcore. Like some people for life, dude.
Oh shit.
Some people respond fine to it. I think that I responded absolutely horrible.
Oh,
and
no.
afterwards, I didn't feel the same for a long time. Even after I stopped it, my sex drive was down. I just didn't feel the same in the gym. I gained body fat, even eating the same way. So I think my hormones really changed. And also, because I was gaining body fat, you know, I was like, damn, I need to maintain my six-pack for the camera. So I started to try and be in a deficit, like for 2 years. And that certainly caused some muscle loss, man. And so I've been off like all DHT blocking compounds for a while now, and I think I'm gonna try and kind of get back to where I was naturally to hopefully show that, like, hey, yeah, this is possible naturally. So more plates, more dates is, and again, I have nothing wrong with more plates, more dates. He's my bro, dude. He just hooked me up with a bunch of like turkesterone and stuff, so I'm gonna do like a cycle of that, which, I mean, you know, most people classify that as natural still, but it's certainly a supplement that's supposed to help. And hopefully, like, I have a plan to gain a lot of muscle back pretty soon.
Well, I think you're muscular now. Please don't get any more muscular. Make me
Yeah,
look
well,
small.
it's certainly better than I was after the 40-day fast. But again, that was to show, really, I mean, what the 40-day fast was to show is that, like, again, I don't want people to think that the physique is everything and that that's the key to happiness, you know? I wanted to show that I was not attached to the physique, and that was, and also the whole Jesus storyline, right? So there's a lot. Each little thing that I did usually had a couple different meanings that I hope that people would pick up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's been quite the journey you've been on, you know? I certainly was quite the roller coaster to watch, but I'm happy you're here now. I'm happy to reconnect with you, man.
Yeah, and also it's certainly not over. It's certainly not over. I think
Great.
I think the best is yet to come. I wanted to take a break for a while and just do some normal stuff, but I think that I'm going to, and again, maybe not. I still haven't decided, man. Maybe I'll quit YouTube and just go be a monk, to be honest. Who knows? But the plan right now is to start incorporating more of the esoteric stuff. It should be fun. Hopefully I can do it in a way that makes a little more sense.
I would like to see that too,
Yeah.
but I will watch on the edge of my seat, eager eyes. All right, man. Well, thanks for doing this video with me. I really appreciate it, and I love you, man. I'm happy.
Yeah, I love you too. It's good to, yeah, it's good to make a trip back here. It was fun.
Here, why don't you give me a hug?
Yeah, bro.
All right. Let's go shave my hair.